Welcome back, everybody, to the USBL here on MLB The Show 21 as we jump into the first full month of gameplay for the second season of the USBL. We're going to be starting with the month of May here, so it's going to be a great episode for you guys. I got 9 games and a box score on tap for you, so make sure you go ahead, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you have to be brand new as we go ahead and check in on the very first game of this episode. We do have ourselves the Memphis Bobcats, who have been a nice little surprise so far this season. They are taking on the Washington Senators, who are currently sitting on top of the NL East. As we see Kento Marte come up to the plate here, is batting not too shabby, 241 so far. He's going to get himself closer to those 250s, though, as that is managing to find a way to drop right into center field. And Washington starts off this game pretty strong, all things being considered. They end up getting a couple of runs on the board. As we'll check out what Mitch Garver can do against Sam Galagio. He ends up striking out, though. First strikeout for Sam Galagio in his appearance. As a few batters later, he has to go ahead and take on Bryson Stott. He's 0 for 1 so far in the day, but he's going to get himself his first hit of the afternoon. This might bring in a run as well. It might be close, but it is going to end up dropping. It was a little bit off target, basically, and that is going to bring in another run. Manager's going to come out, make sure Sam Galagio is okay. He's a little bit off. He's not that bad of a pitcher, but definitely not the start that you wanted, but he will end up settling down, and it will stay a 3-0 affair. But the Memphis Bobcats got to get some runs on the board. They can't just sit here and watch Matthew Thompson just cook this batting order. 4th strikeout of the day for him. He actually comes in as one of the top 50 prospects in the USBL. This is his first full year at the USBL level. He spent most of last year in the minors. As we go ahead and see Matthew Thompson for the very first time in some trouble. Dom T. Williams is sitting at third base as Chris Bryant. Not something that you want to see him batting with the bases loaded, and he ends up literally walking a run in. Matthew Thompson's a pretty young cat. He's going to learn that you can't be walking batters with the bases loaded. You got to pitch to him. But we jump all the way into the top of the 7th inning as the score still remains at 3-1. We do end up seeing Matthew Thompson finally being pulled after 7 innings. So hopefully Aaron Loop can make sure he takes care of business so that Matthew Thompson can get himself a nice little win to start this episode. But with that double, the tying run now is going to be sitting at the plate as Bobby Witt Jr. looks to play a little bit of hero there. Doesn't get that home run, but does manage to go ahead and get himself a run in there. So a 3-2 game as Bobby Witt Jr.'s RBI single narrows down this gap in Washington. Sensing the momentum shifting towards the Bobcats, they go to the bullpen. And Juan Chavez dealing with John Birdie. And John Birdie, he's going to get himself a single as well. Runner's going to at least move to third and second, trying to gun down John Birdie, but the throw is going to be offline. As now, 2 outs. Chris Bryant looking to bring him home, but Chris Bryant ends up doing some window shopping at the very worst time. He ends up going ahead and striking out, looking as Chavez helps preserve the lead, and that is going to help this Washington Senator squad go ahead and potentially win this game. Liam Hendricks comes in. He has not blown a single save here in this entire season. Granted, we're only a month in. As Fernando Mendoza, he gives this one a charge. If it drops, it's a tie game, but it will not end up being that way. And the Washington Senators, they will actually hang on and win a close one to start this episode. They will win by a final score of 3-2. Matt Thompson gets the win, and Sam Galagio surviving 4 innings and loses. As we go ahead and jump into our second game of this episode, we will have the Charlotte Cougars taking on the Philadelphia Patriots. Also, an NL East matchup. Seeing a lot of NL East teams here early as we've seen Zach Lowe go to work against Joey Votto, who has really fallen off the cliff. You have to wonder how much longer Joey Votto has as a quality USBL player. His regression has been crazy, and we'll take a look at his stats whenever we get to the USBL trade day, which is a couple months from now, but it hasn't been good. Thankfully, the rest of the team has stepped up, particularly Shane Bieber, though, who's starting off for the Charlotte Cougars, and he was a huge signing for him. Able to retain him, that was a huge boost for their pitching rotation. As you can see it right there, gets that strikeout there. But Bryce Harper, y'all already know, Bryce Harper is an absolutely bad man, and Shane Bieber found that out the hard way and literally the long way. 9th home run of the season for Bryce Harper, which allows him to tie his game at 1. And then Justin Upton, this is a guy, he's not even known for his power, but he's going to get a no-doubt shot himself, as this is only the 3rd home run of the season for Justin Upton. He's more of a contact hitter and a defensive player, but that solo shot does give the Philadelphia Patriots a 2-1 lead to work with, as now we're here in the top of the 4th inning. Jahmir Candiero looking to try to make sure, get this game all tied up, and it just barely drops fair. Bryce Harper's going to get this in quickly to make sure the run does not score, but there is now runners in scoring position. We got runners at 2nd and 3rd base, as Charlie Cuberson comes up to the plate now, already 1 for 1 in this one. He's got 2 runners in scoring position. We'll see how Zach Lowe deals with it, as Charlie Cuberson, he's going to go out to left field and cannot make the diving play. Cuberson brings 1 run in. It could end up being 2. It does end up being 2 runs, as a throw is not attempted to home, as Cuberson gets a 2 RBIs in that at-bat. And it could very much add even more, as the bases do end up being loaded. It ends up dropping, so Charlotte in position to have themselves a really big 4th inning. They only have 1 out still, as Tim Anderson coming up to the plate here. We'll see if he can add on to this lead that Charlotte has built, as Anderson, he's going to slice this one out into right field. Bryce Harper's going to be able to get under it, and to help control the damage, that they will end up stranding a couple runners here in the top of the 4th inning. But that being said, though, Charlotte does get 4 runs in this inning. That is a huge one for the Cougars, as they still hold on to a 5-2 lead. But you have how offensive minded that we've seen the USBL as of late. It's always a good idea here in the end. Get yourself some insurance, get yourself some Allstate, as we do have a runner on 2nd base. Jahmir Candiero looking for another RBI to add to his stats here today, as it's out into left field. Dude misses it again. Just way too casual with that fielding attempt. I'm surprised they don't count that as an error, to be honest with you guys. But that being said, though, it will cost the Cougars 1 run and probably 2 as well. That's why you got to be able to play fundamental baseball. In Philadelphia, not looking very good. The city of brotherly love, definitely getting some pushback, getting some hate on the scoreboard. Although they will not allow another run in this game, but it's too little too late, though. As the Charlotte Cougars, they actually look pretty good in this one. Maybe they can meet expectations. They have a good roster in place. You just got to be able to put it all together, and they certainly did here, winning 7-2. As we head on out to the Midwest to check out this game between the Aurora Lightning and probably the biggest surprise of season number 2 so far, the Milwaukee Beer, who have the best record in all of baseball right now. They are 16-8. They have been off to a very good start to begin the season. As we now go ahead, jump in to the top of the 4th inning. It's still no score here. Dane Dunning pitching for the Milwaukee Bears. We might finally go ahead and see some action, as we see a hard hit ball hit out into left center field. A double that is going to give the Aurora Lightning their first scoring opportunity of this game. We'll see if they can take advantage of it, as Benito Asuna not necessarily helping the cause. He ends up doing some window shopping. It's now full count. Zach Collins. He's going to slice this one out to right field and trying to dive for it, but cannot make the catch, unfortunately. And Aurora, here in the top of the 4th inning, is going to go ahead and strike first. They will take a 2-0 lead, and that is going to cause the Milwaukee Bears to pull out Dave Dunning. Now, I think personally, this is a little too quick of a pull. I mean, yes, this is the first time Dan Dunning does end up dealing with trouble, but like, his pitch count wasn't even that high. You know, gotta let him, work through it. We'll see if it ends up biting Milwaukee in the butt or not, as Grayson Rodriguez tries to come in, make sure nobody else scores, and at least it helps with this inning, but gotta worry about the strain of that bullpen. Is this the part where maybe that 16-8 record that they have is a little bit of a fluke? That's something that you do definitely have to worry about. Is Corey Dickerson. He has runners on first and second to work with. He's going to hit a nice ball right past the second baseman, and this will end up bringing a run in as well as they try to get the runner at third, but it is offline. The throw ends up being. We got another RBI. Is now Steve Nunez. He's a USBL rookie. He's up at the plate playing at first base, but ends up striking out. The youngster getting fooled, bamboozled. And that does end up the top of the 5th, but Aurora does end up adding a run. They are now up 3-0. Is now Demson Lament dealing with Jonathan Swoop, and finally Milwaukee will get themselves on the board. It took them long enough, but Jonathan Swoop with an unexpected home run. It's only his 2nd home run of this season, but it does get Milwaukee on the board. But they still find themselves down 3-1 as Lament gets his 4th strikeout of the day as he looks to finish against Lorenzo Cain. 1-2 count, and he strikes him out as well. So a shutdown performance in the bottom of the 5th inning after Lament gives up that solo shot as Milwaukee does pull a little bit closer, but still a 3-1 deficit to deal with. It's not unbeatable as the Golden State Warriors at personally, as we do end up seeing Booker Hobbs. He's here at the USBL level for the very first time. He's been a good asset on the base paths, as not only does he end up stealing second base, but he also ends up stealing third as well. Very aggressive base running, and it gives a runner in scoring position for Anthony Rendon. 1 out, 1-2 count to deal with. Is now Grayson Rodriguez with the delivery, gonna deliver it to Rendon, who gets his first hit of the day. And Booker Hobbs able to go ahead and manufacture a run for the Aurora Lightning, who strike with another run on the board, as they will end up pulling Lament in the 5th inning. Actually, in the 6th inning, we're in the bottom of the 6th. I'm losing track. There's a lot of gameplay. There's a lot of action to cover for sure. But either way, Tony Gonsolin, he's going to go ahead. He's going to hit this. Going to allow a home run, of course, to start the appearance. And now the lead's down to 2 as Alex Bregman gets his 7th home run of the season. As for Mil Reyes, he's looking to add on to that as well. That's also hit extremely hard. That almost ends up being a home run himself. And that will end up dropping in for a double. The Milwaukee Bears, they're brewing something, that's for sure. But that being said, will end up being stranded at second base. As we now go ahead, jump into the bottom of the 9th. Ryan Presley looking to close this game out. Lorenzo Cain, who already has 1 strikeout in this game. He always won't strike out here, but Steve Nunez is going to get the lead grounder and jump on the first base to end the madness. And your Aurora Lightning, man, we might have an interesting NL Central division, a more improved division here in season number 2, as Aurora does win 4-2 to end this one. As we go ahead and check in on 2 interesting teams, San Francisco, who is the defending National League champions, and the biggest winners in for the offseason, the Phoenix Firebirds, but neither team looking that great. Both of them are just kind of hovering over 500, kind of haven't been on much of a run, but whenever we do end up seeing the Phoenix Firebirds in actual game action, they've been really fun to watch, man. Between Gene Segura, they also got Juan Soto, and then who can forget their free agent acquisition in Aaron Judge, who they acquired from the Seattle Pilots over the offseason through free agency. And then they also got some solid pitching too. Carlos Carrasco, he's going to be pitching for the Firebirds today. ERA is just a tad under 4, and what's nice, or what should be for this pitching rotation, is they don't need to be great. They just need to be average so that their offense can do the rest. They got a great lineup here, but Ozzy Albies, wanting to know why they are a little bit of a disappointment so far as they give up a solo shot here in the first inning. Ozzy Albies with his second home run of the season. One of the home run, big performer in the World Series in Game 1, but Josh Donaldson can't quite reciprocate, as that is going to end the first inning. Both teams running that home run ball here in the first inning. As we go ahead, jump into the second inning in this one, as Luke Vogt, he's been a nice little home run hitter, but trying to get himself off the interstate, and that's the thing with Luke Vogt. You're either going to get some dingers. Well, not even dinger. I don't know what's going on with Luke Vogt. He's usually known for his home run hitting, but he gets that 2-run shot there, and that's the most important thing. It allows Phoenix to take a 3-1 lead. But Willy Adames, he's looking to strike back, and he's been absolutely on fire. He's been batting .400 over the course of this last week, and that's going to continue here. Another hit for Willy Adames to go ahead and enjoy his third double of the season. And even the bottom of the lineup, that's why San Francisco has been so talented, why they had that deep postseason run. Even their 9th hitter batting close to 300. That's the crazy part for San Francisco. Although they do actually get a double play, but at least San Francisco does get another run on the board. Still down 3-2 though. As we go in to the bottom of the 4th inning, got a deep shot over to center field, and it just barely carries over the wall. Salvador Perez gets his 8th home run of the season, and all of a sudden, this game is now tied. This is not the type of game that really works well for the Phoenix Firebirds, as they're still a team that relies on their offense, but I don't know, like Phoenix came in like as the highest rated roster in baseball. So I don't know why Phoenix is struggling, to be honest with you. I can't exactly pinpoint it, to be honest with you guys. Maybe it's just Phoenix is not meant to have nice things. I don't know. You can let me know down in the comments what your personal thoughts are on that, as we'll go ahead and jump into the bottom of the 8th inning. Nick Castellanos going ahead and try to go and get some hits on the board, as it's a deep drive, not to left field, but to center field. And it still will carry out of the ballpark. It's the same result. Nick Castellanos with a home run that seals the deal for the San Francisco Seals. So we'll see if this gets them back on track as they come from behind. And Phoenix does end up blowing the 3-1 lead as San Francisco wins 4-3 in this one. But with that being said, we can go ahead and keep things out west and check out the Houston Hurricanes take on the Las Vegas Lounge Wizards, as Jake Odorizzi is starting for Las Vegas, going up against Brad Keller, who's been absolutely electric so far. An ERA of under 1, so maybe this could be one of those games that ends up being like a really low scoring pitching duel. That's sort of what I'm hoping for. But nobody told the batting orders for both teams, as what do we first at bat, Kyle Tucker, he's going to round third. He actually might get a triple out of this. So Kyle Tucker, who comes in on the interstate, gets his first triple of the season. I can't believe it. Is now Adam Frazier, who's also been struggling a little bit. He doesn't get the same look as Kyle Tucker. He ends up striking out there. Is now Cody Bellinger, batting .278 so far. He strikes out too. And seeing a problem with Las Vegas, why they may not be considered true contenders, even though they have a great record, they have done a terrible job batting. But they can get enough on the board, you never know what could happen. As we see a 2-run shot from Miguel Sano, the 7th home run of the season, is now Luis Robert coming up to the plate. Here we jump to the top of the 5th inning. Jake O'Drizzy still dealing out here on these streets. But Luis Robert, he is a bad man. He knows how to have that emotion as the Houston Hurricanes with that solo shot by Luis Robert makes it a 1-run game once again as J.D. Davis looks to help him tie this thing up, and it ends up getting through. At first there was hesitation to get him home, but there is now the tying run, and now this thing is all tied up now, 2 apiece. Is now top of the 7th inning. J.D. Davis back at the plate again. He hits it exactly the same spot as his hit in the top of the 5th inning, and it's the same result. It gets a hit, gets in an RBI, and for the very first time today, the Houston Hurricanes get themselves a nice little lead to work with. And now we go and see the bullpen action for Las Vegas. Joseph Shaw comes in, his 4th appearance of the season, trying to make sure that it stays a 3-2 game, as Christian Yelich does a nice little poke out into left field, but I mean, it is hit right to Kyle Tucker though. But Houston will at least get a 3-2 lead to work with. It's now bottom of the 7th inning now. Christian Walker comes up to the plate, batting .250 here on the season. But that being said though, this is deep to left field and it is gone. Solo shot for Christian Walker, the 3rd home run of the season. As we get close to the end of this game, it is still all knotted up at 3 apiece. Keston Hiura striking out as we check out the pitching staff for both teams. Brad Keller for Jake O'Drizzy, and a little bit of a disappointment. Neither starting pitcher getting very far. They do both pitch 5 innings, so they are both qualified to get the win, but I don't think either of them will, seeing that this game is still all knotted up. As now, Josh Bell looking to break the tie here in the top of the 8th inning. He hits this one deep in the right field, and that's also going to be gone. Josh Bell, 5th home run of the season, makes it 4-3. MJ Melendez can't add on to it though, but Josh Bell giving the Houston Hurricanes, who are desperate for a victory right now have a chance to win this thing. And they call upon Nick Anderson. He's usually not their closer. This is his first save attempt. But that being said, Nick Anderson, acquired from the Boston Quakers in Season 1, gonna be given the opportunity to close this thing. He's a really good pitcher, don't get me wrong, 91 overall. We'll see if it's in his DNA, though, as he gets Marwin Gonzalez to strike out. It's the first strikeout for Nick Anderson, as we're one batter away from the Houston Hurricanes going ahead and winning this thing. Is Kyle Tucker. He's gonna hit it, and diving play cannot be made. The tying run is gonna end up scoring, but Kyle Tucker trying to go for second base, but ends up getting caught. And that is going to go ahead and take us to extra innings. And maybe we finally might see some ends of his madness. Las Vegas really playing with house money right now. We go all the way to the bottom of the 12th inning. Is now Marwin Gonzalez looks to get something going here. They haven't got much offense going in the first couple of extra innings, but Marwin Gonzalez with a chance gets to second base. Is he going to turn around for third? No, he will remain at second base. But that being said, a runner in scoring position. We'll see if Adam Frazier can go ahead and play as the hero. But a rough day for him. 0 for 5 so far. Is now Yasmiro Petit. He's in the game now for the Hurricanes. This is carrying out and cannot be made in Las Vegas. Is going to walk it off. Adam Frazier, who has been down bad, makes the game-winning hit in Las Vegas. Wins a crazy one in extra innings. They win this one 5-4 in 12 innings of action in Las Vegas. Looking good. But now we go ahead and take ourselves back out east. We're going to go ahead and take a look at two teams that have struggled a little bit so far. The Denver Bald Eagles, who are still kind of in a rebuild after trading away Matt Chapman back in season number 1. Whereas the Louisville Colonials, they just straight up been down bad as of late. They have had a really hard time just hitting home runs. Like, the home run ball, it just is a foreign concept to the Louisville Cardinals right now, but their pitching staff has been keeping them in games, and we're going to see some of that here as Jordan Montgomery trying to go to work on Adam Duvall. As Duvall going to get that out into the outfield. Charlie Blackmon going to get it up in there, and it will be a double for Adam Duvall. As now, Kurt Caselli in the game, 292 batting average, going to get his first at bat, and the first crack also goes out into the outfield, taking advantage of the decline of Charlie Blackmon, who's just not as quick as he used to be, and it's showing there. But they got to get some more production from other guys like Austin Hayes, who's been fantastic at home, but on the road, down bad. Just really down bad right now, but Austin Hayes does break that little bit of a spell. Not a road warrior by any means, but does his job, gets the double, and adds another run for the Denver I don't know why I just said Boston, or almost said Boston. That's not what I meant to do whatsoever. But that being said, Denver is going to carry a 2-0 lead here as Jordan Montgomery is in just a tad bit of trouble right now. They will end up getting out of it eventually. But Denver looking solid so far, getting a couple runs on the board. As we now go into the bottom of the second inning, Buster Posey, who's a really good offensive player for a catcher. He does not have a home run yet this season. Wouldn't it be something if here in this gameplay we see Buster Posey's first home run in the USBL this season? Wouldn't that be something? As Trevor Williams getting ready to go ahead and stand and deliver. 3-1 count. Posey, this is deep enough to will it end up dropping? Oh, just short. But Buster Posey, despite his lack of speed, gonna end up getting a double and ends up bringing in a run as well. So, okay, I see you, Buster Posey. 9-4 RBI of the season. Still looking for his first home run, though, as Nico Horner comes to the plate. 337. But that's going to come down a little bit, as a runner will end up being stranded at second base, but Louisville does at least cut the deficit a little bit. As now, jumping into the bottom of the sixth, Craig Stegman. And this has been an issue for Denver. They have not been very good with their bullpen. They have a tendency to blow a lot of leads. And maybe we might see that here as well as Trey Turner with that 99 speed, making it look easy, man. I would not be shocked if Trey Turner, if he can get on base enough to lead the USBLs in stolen bases. He is one of the fastest players that we have in this league. As now, Jared Walsh still continuing his at-bat, but able to get it out there long enough for Trey Turner with his elite speed to get home. There was not going to be a throw at home, regardless of what happened. And this game is all tied up at 2, but Buster Posey, though, can't extend the lead for Louisville. So after 6 innings of play, it's been pretty quiet, though, not going to lie. It's all tied up at 2 apiece. As now, bottom of the 7th inning now, another reliever for Emilio Pangan, taking over for the Denver Eagles. As now, going out to the left-hand side. It's a tough play. We'll see if it'll be able to be made. The throw was made, but I mean, dude was going to be safe by a mile. Will be considered a hit for Jason Dominguez, who keeps his burgeoning hitting streak alive. He is now hit in 6 consecutive games. So now runner on first base for Nicky Montano, a USBL rookie who takes it deep out. Almost gets it over the big green wall out there in left field. And Jason Dominguez is going to be able to score as a result of it. It's just a 5th RBI double of the season for him. And Louisville will end up taking their first lead. And that lead is just going to end up getting just a little bit bigger now. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Although, very unwise decision, though. Trying to go for third base. That just ain't it, Chief. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about as Denver goes to another relief pitcher, Darren O'Day. 8th appearance of the season. His ERA is at 9. So talking about a guy in every inning that he has pitched in, he has given up a run. We'll see if that trend still continues as he deals with David Peralta. 2 outs, runners on first and second, 1-1 pitch. And that gets over the middle. This will end up being, like I said, Darren O'Day giving up that run again. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Even though he's not responsible for it, that is your job, to hold it down. And this is why Denver is where they're at right now. They need some bullpen help, man. Like the bullpen down horrendous right now as a squad. They are not doing their job, but they will at least get Buster Posey to fly out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. So it could have been a major catastrophe, but that being said, Denver is still inning. But again, it's just one of those games where it just feels like the game is slipping away as we see another really hard hit ball that's going to end up at least being a double. Will end up being yet another run for the Colonials, as we will end up seeing Nicky Montana. He looks exactly like Charlie Blackmon. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, from a distance, it looks exactly like him. But Kevin Gingle's going to come into the game and try to make sure dealing with the real Charlie Blackmon. This is him in the flesh, and it's a hard hit ball. It's going to get out there, but it's going to end up being a fly out to Austin Hayes, though, as now they have a huge lead they got to deal with, and it ends up being barbecue chicken for Denver, as Louisville does end up coming up with the win. Both teams do have a lot of work to do, but hopefully this win for Louisville does at least give them just a tad bit of confidence moving forward in the season. Emilio Pagan going to be charged with the loss. As we check out our next game, we go to the bright lights of the biggest market in America. The New York Knights taking on the San Antonio Outlaws. Cole Stewart with that 1.4 ERA. Going to be taking on Andrew Heaney, who not as successful thus far in the season. But that being said, that we could still be in for some interesting action nonetheless, as we go ahead and jump ourselves into the top of the 3rd inning right away. As now, Tuskar Hernandez out here.
I love you, Mom.
Bases loaded. Full count to work with. And Tuskar Hernandez gets it through the infield. And San Antonio will end up going ahead and drawing themselves some first blood action. As it's now a 2-0 lead here, as Chris Davis looks to bring in more runners home. But he has struggled in this series. 1 for 10 in the series. It's not a good look considering it's a free game set. As now Chris Davis looking to get his 2nd hit of the series, and he's going to end up getting it, finding a hole into left field. It could clear the bases, and while it doesn't do that, Chris Davis gets a couple of runs here. So San Antonio attacking in a huge way, now up 4-0. As now bottom of the 5th inning, Andrew Heaney still in the game. He's gonna give up really his first big hit in this one. That almost ends up leaving the field. Could have been a ground rule double. I'm sure he wished it was that case. He would have kept the runner at 3rd base, but instead, New York's gonna go ahead and get themselves their first run on the board, courtesy of Jacob Nottingham, his 7th double of the year. Is now Regnald Odor. He's gonna somehow get this one through. It's not even like a hard grounder or anything like that. They were just shifted the other way, and Odor just made him pay for it in a huge one, as Heaney will end up getting a visit from the manager of the San Antonio Outlaws. Gonna try to talk to his guy, make sure he's all good, ready to complete this inning at the very least. As Simon Mazzotti takes a bad cut, but we still see Regnald Odor steal 2nd base, but he will end up being stranded at 2nd, as New York does get a couple of runs there in that performance. As now it's a 4-2 ball game, still in the top of the 6th inning. Gonna see another run for San Antonio potentially, and it's just a little bit late though, and the run will count as Jan Gomes brings in another one. As now it's 5-2. We see a strikeout. Jacob Junis trying to close up shop. He's been the long reliever for New York. As now deep fly ball in the right field. This could leave the ballpark. It ends up dropping in the warning track. It will still end up bringing in a run, though, as San Antonio, who was not that good in Season 1, really taking it to the New York Knights here today at their home stadium, too, and a 6-2 lead to show for it. As we get into the bottom of the 6th inning, if New York's going to make a comeback, they got to go to Nolan Arenado, man. Arguably one of the best players in baseball right now. Arenado in left field, and it just barely leaves the ballpark, and it's the 8th home run for Nolan Arenado. As now, Dansby Swanson, he's going to try to go ahead and keep the lead diminishing a little bit. He ends up striking out, though. Nolan Arenado's home run is the only one that the New York Knights will get, but it is still at least a 3-run game now instead of 4. They just got to hold it down here in the top of the 7th inning, relying on Aaron Sledgers to go ahead and make sure that it stays a 3-run game. Keep that door creaked open a little bit to see if he can get Chris Davis to strike out, but instead, I mean, a no-doubter home run. No one even moves. Like, everyone knows as soon as that ball was hit, it's like, that's not gonna, I'm not gonna get to that one, you know? But San Antonio gets another run on the board, courtesy of Chris Davis, as Sergio Romo does come into the game here in the top of the 8th inning, as Raimel Tapia looks to get going here. He's only 1 for 4 in the day, but we got a stolen base attempt, and that is going to be successful, as Eric Mejia, look at that top speed, close to 21 miles per hour, and he was in there well before the tag. I mean, that's not even disputable. So now runners in the corners thanks to that. He ends up Tapia ends up walking there, and we do end up seeing Eric Mejia get home because of it. So a manufactured run for the San Antonio Outlaws. Not that they need runs right now, but I mean, it's certainly welcomed and all that good stuff. Here's another little base hit out into right field. That's going to get in another run as well. Out by first base in a 9-3 affair, as Alex Claudio comes to the game now. Been a tough year for him. 0-4 so far in 12 appearances, but he will at least be awarded with the hold, as it could have been a major disaster for New York. It still is a disastrous result because, I mean, you only get 2 at-bats tops, and you got to get 6 runs in the process. So, yeah, it's going to be not very easy to come back in this one by any stretch of the imagination, as Austin Slater, he's going to end up striking out. So that certainly doesn't help. So now New York is down to 4 outs, and they're going to be relying on Nolan Arenado, who is trying his best to carry his offense. He really is. A second home run for him, but it's just a solo shot. You got to get guys on base for Nolan Arenado. He will deliver. He will get you to the promised land, but the rest of the team just not doing their due diligence. They're not picking up the slack, though, as San Antonio continues to beleaguer this New York defense, as we see yet another double for the Outlaws. It puts them in a position to go ahead and get themselves double digits. As now Dylan Carlson, he's at the plate, 1 for 4, out into left field. It's going to be deep. It's going to get out of the... No, it doesn't get out of the ballpark, actually, but it's an RBI double. Carlson has some decent speed. That could have been a triple, but instead, no more runs will end up scoring. But San Antonio, they didn't even need the insurance runs. They take care of business. They go on the road. They get a convincing win against the New York Knights. And San Antonio gonna win this game by a final score of 10-4. What a game for the Outlaws offense. So let's get back out to the West Coast. We're going to go ahead and check out the San Diego Whales taking on the Los Angeles Saints as they go ahead and get on the field right now. In LA, this is a 3-game set, and it's been a competitive series. We have certainly seen that. LA has won both games so far, though, and we'll see if San Diego can prevent the sweep, or will the LA Saints go ahead and complete it. San Diego, of course, you know, one of those teams that almost had a disaster. They did end up losing Clayton Kershaw in free agency, but I mean, San Diego's, they got some promising pieces, though. Jesus Luzardo, I don't know if he's one of them, but not because he's not good or anything. 1.69 ERA, like, that's fantastic. But that being said, though, I don't think he's not one of the rookies. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know why that was really hard to say that, you know. Long day, you know, definitely a long day. Might be losing my mind a little bit here. Hope you're enjoying the content, by the way. Hit that like and subscribe button if you do. If you made it this far, you know, if you like this USBL content on MLB The Show, as I'm sure you'll like that home run shot out into, oh, it's actually not a home run. Oh my goodness. I really did thought that was going to leave the ballpark, to be honest with you guys, but still ends up being a double. You like to see that, and it gets Jesus Lazaro in a little bit of trouble. And then Isaiah Vargas, he's got a first name that frankly I can't really pronounce. I'm not going to try. If you know how to pronounce it, let me know down in the comments. Because, you know, we struggle a little bit over here with the pronunciation of some of these guys. But Cesar Mora, he's at the plate. He can make this at least a 2-0 game. And, oh, it's going to be more than that, baby. A free run shot out there in left field. Cesar Mora, only his second home run of the season. And we haven't even gotten to the big boys. Trevor Story and Freddie Freeman. Trevor Story makes him Jesus Lazardo with a major error. His throw gets all the way out into the outfield, and instead of being a routine ground out, Trevor Story is going to be at third base. And while Kyle Lewis does ground out to the first baseman, it is going to force the action at first, and we will end up seeing Trevor Story get home. Let's take a look at Mackenzie Francisco, one of the young promising players on this team for San Diego. Definitely a youth movement going on. They done a nice job, not necessarily with like drafting like high potential players, but they did get a couple of players that can go ahead and be future contributors fairly quickly. We are certainly seeing that as Randy Orlenza is at the plate. He's going to hopefully get the first runs for the San Diego Whales, and that might actually do it right there. It does end up dropping that low wall out there in right field. Will end up being an RBI double. Is now Ryan McBroom. He's at the plate, but it's going to end up striking out the Jose Quintana. His first strikeout of the game, as San Diego does end up leaving a couple of runners out there to end the inning. As now we'll see Stephen Brault go to work here in the top of the sixth. Jake's Cronensworth, who came in with a really high batting average. He was batting close to 400. Maybe a moment where he comes down to earth a little bit. That strikeout, getting him to 0 for 3. That will certainly not help with that batting average of his. But next couple of batters ahead of him do help out the cause a little bit. San Diego is trying to rally back a little bit here. That double is going to get a runner in scoring position. That's the 7th double for Randy Andreza. Is now Ryan McBroom, 0 for 1. Looking for an RBI opportunity. He's going to go ahead and poke this one out into the outfield. Kyle Lewis trying to give chase. He will. Trying to get it in quickly, but it will be a double. And San Diego does ends up going ahead and getting themselves yet another run on the board. Is now Andres Munoz comes to the game now, trying to keep it a 5-2 affair. As Cesar Mora, he's been on fire. He's got a home run and a single already. This is deep out in the left field. Is it going to drop? It looks like it's going to get off the wall. And Mora, he's going to go for third base. And is not going to even try to get the third. Just get the ball to home. Make sure that inside the park home run doesn't happen. But Cesar Mora, really close now to the cycle. He's only a double away from completing it. But more importantly, Mora is going to be able to get home. And it does add yet another run for the LA Saints here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And that ends up being the difference, man. LA, they take care of business. They get the sweep of the San Diego Whales. And they will win this game by a final score of 6-2. San Diego, they got a bright future, don't get me wrong, but still some work that needs to be done. So we actually did go ahead and notice that the Pittsburgh Force had surprisingly kept pace with the Chicago Freeze and the Minnesota Ducks. So wanted to check out to see how Pittsburgh does in a game situation. And well, they were a little disappointing to say the least. The Pittsburgh Force were blown out in this one. They lost 13-1. Despite the fact the Chicago Freeze did have 2 errors in this one, Jose Abreu does get named player of the game. 4 for 5, a home run, a triple, a double, a couple of RBIs thrown in there as well. Actually, now that I think about it, he hit for the cycle. And it was just Joe Musgrove gets the win. Michael Stroman, he actually had a really good ERA coming into this one. I was expecting a little bit more of a pitcher's duel, but that really didn't happen. we'll have to wait and see if Pittsburgh can recover from this, but as of right now, it does end up seeming like that they might be a pretender, and they might be back to where they were in Season 1, where they ended up being sellers at the trade day. But definitely plenty of baseball left to play. We'll just have to wait and see. So for the final game of this episode that I wanted to show you guys, we got the Baltimore Stone Crabs taking on the Seattle Pilots. And if you guys remember from Season 1, this was a playoff game between these two teams. They were tied for that second wildcard spot, in which the Seattle Pilots won, but neither team looking like a playoff team so far. But Baltimore trying to get themselves back on track. They've won 3 games in a row. They're looking to go ahead and complete the sweep, and it's something that Baltimore desperately needs. Just to, you got to get yourself back on track one way or the other, right? But Seattle's down bad right now. The biggest losers in the offseason. They lost Aaron Judge. They lost Wilson Contreras as well. This is a very depleted team, losing a lot of that top-end talent, and those young guys in Seattle's farm system just aren't necessarily ready to contribute at a high level, so that's why they're off to the slow start that they are right now. And particularly right here, Barry Gasado, first at bat of the game, he's going to get that double in to right field. It's a 7th double of the season, and they also got to deal with Manny Machado. Last 6 games, 12 for 27, and a batting average in the 400s. He had a slow start, don't get me wrong now, but that being said, though, he is a dangerous human being. He is the top batter for the Baltimore Stone Crabs, and rudely showing them why as he goes deep in the right field, and that ball is going to leave the ballpark. Only his 2nd home run of the season, but Baltimore going to go ahead and take a 3-0 lead. Here is Michael Fulmer. He's the starting pitcher for the Baltimore Stone Crabs today. Off to a good start as well. We'll see if he can get out of it, though. Is Victor Contrani? I think that is how you say his name. Going to be at the plate right now, trying to keep the inning alive, and he might do a little bit more than that. That is going to get into the gap. This might bring in a run for Seattle, as the throw is going to get in. Will there be a play at the plate? No. And Seattle will end up eventually striking back now. An RBI double for him, his 6th one of the season. Is now 3-1 ball game. Nick Solek here in the top of the 4th inning, still dealing with Zach Godley. And Solek, he's going to get the 1-1 pitch. That's going to be deep in the center field as well. Ends up dropping in the warning track, but Nick Solek, he's got some speed. He's going for 3rd. He's going to be close. It will end up being safe. So how about that? Is now Joey Bart going to look to go ahead and bring Nick Solek home, and a little flare out there in the center field. A little bit of a blooper, but does the job. Baltimore gets another run on the board. They will go ahead and take a 4-1 lead as Seattle goes to the bullpen. They still got this guy, Jaren Gutu. He's not the best relief pitcher, but he's got arguably the best mustache in the USBL. Straight up and down, right? And he does get out of the inning pretty cleanly. But that being said, though, bottom of the 4th, Seattle's got to get some runs on the board, and they will end up doing just that. Rafael Devers gets his 5th home run of the season. It's now David Dahl batting .207. He's been down bad and continues to be down bad as well. So Seattle will only pick up that 1 run. But at least they get it back to a 2-run lead for the time being, as Michael Fulmer just continues to make these Seattle batters look a little silly. His 4th strikeout of the day is now J.B. Crawford looking to keep the inning alive. This is going to be a tough one for the outfielders for Baltimore to get to. This might actually go ahead and tie this game, and it ends up doing just that. So hang on now. This game is all tied up all of a sudden. Definitely going to get a little bit interesting now as Felix Pena comes to the game, dealing with Danny Henderson. He's still batting over 300 so far this season. Henderson at the plate, gets it out into right center field. This should drop, and it ends up being a home run as well. So Danny Henderson getting home run number 6. Is now Joey Bart, who had that RBI single earlier. That was actually his first hit in this entire series so far. It's a 4-game set. now coming alive for the final game before they leave Seattle for good, as we will end up seeing Joey Bart trying to go for second, and not a good decision. That could have been more runs for Baltimore, but Stone Crabs do at least enjoy a 1-run lead, as they now hold that over this Pilots team. But that being said, though, Seattle will end up responding right back. Solo shot for Victor Constrelli, and it's back tied again, 5 apiece. This time, Stephen Christian getting out to Harrison Bader. And before even that at bat starts, got the stolen base from Jose Peraza, and actually, I thought that game was all tied up thanks to that home run. Turns out, it was actually gave Seattle the leads. And that lead gonna grow even more as that stolen base manufactures a run. So Seattle now find themselves up by 2, 7-5 affair. And looking to pull away here in the last third of this game as Rafael Devers, he's gonna go ahead and look for the dagger. 3-2 count here. Bottom of the 7th inning. Jace Fry with the pitch. Divers out into right field, and that's going to be gone. It's going to be a home run. It will end up leaving the ballpark, and Seattle will end up rallying back here, and they actually avoid the sweep, unlike the San Diego Whales in our previous, full game. So great win for Seattle to help get themselves back on track. We'll see if this helps them, get some more momentum in the season as Baltimore falls 8-5. So with us being about a month and a half into the season, we're roughly another month and a half away from seeing the trade day as well as the All-Star break. We're actually just about a month away from going ahead and getting into the draft day episode. So good time to go ahead and check out the team stats for the very first time. And starting off with batting average throughout the league, we do have some usual suspects in there. We got the San Francisco Seals. We know that they have a really good offense led by Paul Goldschmidt and Josh Donaldson. Seth Beer has also been on fire, though, batting .314 so far in this season. San Francisco Seals are on top with a .282. Batting at .276 as a team, the Chicago Freeze are here as well. Jose Abreu, one of the highest batting averages in the league, I think, right now, batting .392. Alex Verdugo and Andrelton Simmons, they're both over 300 right now. And then the Honolulu Islanders, they got a pretty nice offense as well, led by Eloy Jimenez, 363 right now, and Anthony Rizzo. But we got a couple of surprises here. Milwaukee is second right now. The Bears with a .279 batting average. Nobody necessarily on fire, but Lorenzo Kay, Framil Reyes, and Clint Frazier are off to pretty good starts. And then the Louisville Colonials also been doing some good work as well. Nico Horner leading the way with a .327 batting average, but also helps that Buster Posey is currently on fire right now, batting .302. And then also we have a couple other teams that are tied for fifth. The Indianapolis Indians, they got Alex Baum on fire, then Jordan Alvarez, a free agent acquisition from New Orleans. He's batting .296. Jose Altuve is doing his thing. And then the LA Saints are doing pretty well too. 2 guys over 300. Patrick Dwyer and Brandon Anderson, both of which are doing their things as well. Meanwhile, in the bottom 5, we do have some pretty sad stuff going on down here. Las Vegas is actually in last place right now. They are only batting .223 as a team right now. Cody Bellinger leading the team with just a .281 batting average. Then they only have 2 other guys that are above .250 right now. So it's been tough sledding for this Las Vegas offense. Although they still are somewhat competitive, their pitching staff has been bailing them out. Tied second to last place, you got CJ Abrams, who is one of the higher rated prospects in the USBL. He's leading the team in batting average, followed by Rhys Hopkins, batting .254, and then Brian Buxton, he was a free agent acquisition from Aurora, only batting .230, and that's third on the team. Meanwhile, the Columbus Jets are out here as well. They're batting .310, actually .232 as a team, and that's going to be something that might end up holding them back, considering this is a team that did not bat well last season. Their pitching staff is better, so that's keeping them competitive, but they need to be better batting. And then also no surprises, Denver Bald Eagles, only batting .233. They're in the middle of a rebuild. And then the Cleveland Rockers, who end up being devastated in free agency, only batting .237. Meanwhile, in runs scored, we do have our first team to 200 runs already in the Honolulu Islanders. They've been pretty explosive on offense. It's honestly not really that close. Second place right now is the Philadelphia Patriots. They're at 175 right now, followed by the LA Saints at 170, the Seals at 169, nice, and the New York Knights at 163. The Chicago Freeze, defending World Series champs, are in 6th place right now. But then we see the teams that it looks like actually everybody does score at least 100 runs. Nashville, not surprised, they're down here, 118, 26 in runs scored. Jacksonville Suns are 117. San Diego Whales, they're 112 right now, so they have struggled. And then tied for last place in terms of actually scoring in offense, Cleveland and Las Vegas. Las Vegas, again, they have been horrendous on offense, as you're seeing. Cleveland, not much better. I mean, they got two guys that are cold that are in their top 3 in terms of runs scored. Meanwhile, the home run ball, we always know that is pretty popular, but let's go ahead and check out who's leading that as a team. We do see the Philadelphia Patriots on top, 56 home runs as a squad, led by Bryce Harper with 9 home runs, and then Jesus Aguilar as well. He's a little bit on the cold side right now, does have 8 home runs. San Francisco Seals, though, giving them a good run for their mining, led by Nick Castellanos, 12 home runs on the season already, followed by Paul Goldschmidt with 9 homers. They're 1 behind. Then in third, we got the Indianapolis Indians, Jordan Alvarez, a free agent acquisition, like I said, leading the team. He's been a great ad for him, a cheap ad as well. Alex Baum has 7 home runs as well to go with it. Then, of course, Hawaii, they're doing great, 53 home runs. They're great on offense. And then Boston coming with a vengeance, 51 home runs so far this season. That's 5th in the USBL, led by Max Muncy, who already has 13 on the season. Paul DeJong, despite the fact that he's a little cold right now, he has 7. And then Edwin Rios has 6, and he's on fire right now. Meanwhile, for teams that have struggled with their home run ball, we got the Louisville Colonials in last place right now with only 20 home runs on the season. Nobody on the team has more than 3. So that's really tough to see. Big reason why Louisville has struggled at the plate a little bit. New Orleans is in 29th right now. Actually, yeah, they're in 29th right now with just 22, led by Anthony Santana with just 5. San Diego Whales are tied with the Jacksonville Suns for 27th with 29 home runs. Trey Mancini for the San Diego Whales carrying this offense, 8 home runs. So he has almost a third of the entire team's home runs so far. And then Washington Senators, despite the fact that they did add Pete Alonso, that's been a nice add overall. But besides him and Graybar Torres, nobody else has really contributed in the home runs department. Next up, we got stolen bases, and while Jacksonville does struggle with the home run ball, and that same thing could be said for the Louisville Colonials, they're both in the top 3 in terms of stolen bases. Jacksonville leading the way with 45 stolen bases already, led by Alberto Mondesi with 14 stolen bases. Rick Thomas has 6. In second place, we got the Memphis Bobcats, led by John Birdie and Fernando Mendoza, both of which could very well be all-stars, and so could JT Realmuto. For a catcher to have 4 steals on the season, that's pretty good. We usually don't see it very fast catchers in the USBL. Fourth place is the Baltimore Stone Crabs with 31. Barry Casado leading the way, but Manny Machado surprisingly in that top 3 with 3 stolen bases. And then to round out the top 5, you got the LA Saints with 29 stolen bases. Patrick Dwyer's leading the way with 7, and Trevor Story, known for his hard hitting, he also has 6 stolen bases on the year as well. In the bottom 5, though, we do see the Washington Senators are in last place. Kento Marte leading the way with 5 steals, followed by Andrew Barantani, who's the only other player with multiple stolen bases with 2. Then everyone else on that team has 1. Seattle has 14 stolen bases, led by Jose Peraza with 4. Bradley Zimmer has 3 stolen bases as well. New York Knights aren't very quick either. They only have 15 stolen bases. Simon Mazzotti, he's a rookie. He's got 3 stolen bases. And then tied for 26, got the Indians and the Patriots. Philadelphia is not very fast. That's understandable. Same thing could be said for the Indians. They aren't really known for stealing bases either. And then to wrap out the team stats I wanted to go ahead and take a look at is ERA as a team. The Las Vegas Wizards, they have been brutal on offense, like I've said, but they also are #1 in ERA, led by Chris Bubik, who was a minor league all-star last season. He's up at the USBL, 2.12 ERA so far. Been fantastic as a staff. Charlotte Cougars have a good staff as well. They have a 3.0 ERA led by Shane Bieber, who's on fire right now. Chicago Freeze are third, which is no surprise. They got Noah Syndergaard, probably is one of the best ERAs in the league. Joe Musgrove is on fire. And then rounding out the top 5, you got the New Orleans Kings and the Nashville Blues, who cashed in a little bit in free agency, is showing in their pitching staff. Meanwhile, in the bottom 5, though, we see the Seattle Pilots, who were devastated in free agency when they lost Aaron Judge. Their pitching staff has not picked up the slack. Only a 5.23 ERA. Denver is down here as well, a 5.1. They're in a rebuilding mode. Dustin May, definitely down bad as of right now. Atlanta Barons in 28th. They have really struggled. Boston is 27th with a 4.8, but their offense is carrying them. And then, somewhat surprising, we see the Jacksonville Suns here. That's despite Carlos Rodon and Aaron Nola being on fire right now. Marco Gonzalez is pretty cold as of right now. So with that being said, that is going to wrap up today's episode of the USBL. And if you enjoyed the content, by the way, I do need you guys to go ahead and do me a favor. Smash that like button for me. Hit me up down in the comments down below if you enjoyed today's USBL content. And if you happen to be brand new to the channel and you happen to really like MLB The Show content, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button as well. I would truly appreciate it. This is JohnJake Baseball on the mic signing off. I'm hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.